welcome to Invincipod, probably the best podcast about Invincible on the internet.
Probably.
I'm James.
I'm Ralph.
And I stumbled over that. It's been a week, and we are back for the fourth time in 7 days on Invincipod. More episodes in 1 week than we've had in about 2 years, I think.
Yeah. Dude, I was right before the show, I'm like, which episode was this? And then I had to think, oh yeah, the show art, that'll tell me.
Yeah.
Hopefully it wasn't a spoiler. I don't know. Like, I want the show art to be like when you see it, you know exactly what episode it is. And I feel like it was a spoiler, but so much stuff happens after that moment.
Yeah,
I'm like,
it's a half the episode thing, and it's like, it's not. It's the why and the how of it is more interesting than the who of it, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just noticed something during our intro there. You know the guy whose name we can never remember, Space Racer?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like underneath you right now. Like he's there in that
he's right
corner.
there.
He's there. Like
That's
the whole
so
time.
Funny.
He's always there. But he's always just looking at us.
That's so funny. Yeah. I grabbed I didn't want it just to be like black colors. I really don't care for the flat blue and flat yellow, but the black I really wanted to have some sort of texture. To it. So I'm like, let me grab a Otley
big splash,
double page spread splash page thing, which and that's a spoiler, I guess. This is from the Viltrumite War, which we've talked about. Yeah. But I'm wondering if I should do something up in here. It's fine. I think we're fine.
I think we're fine.
If I change this, I have to change the video intro to match this art. It's the whole thing. Yeah. What's funny? I don't know if we've ever talked about this or not. Have I ever talked about the music for this show?
Yeah, it's
Have I talked about on the show?
I think so. Early on, it's been a while.
If I have.
We've been doing this show for quite a long time.
It's funny because it's not like licensed. It's not like royalty free music or whatever. I think it's like a music that's so forgotten that just nobody's noticed. YouTube hadn't noticed because I put it up on one episode on YouTube and I'm like, okay, they're not flagging us. Yeah. But I can't even imagine, unless you're the composer of that music, you're not going to know where this music came from.
If anyone knows it, please comment and let us know that you know it.
It's so funny, and I don't think it's Shazamable. So,
maybe not. Yeah, literally Johnny knows.
Oh, it's not.
No, not PlayStation. It is a game, right?
It is a game, yeah.
Yeah.
A CD era, PlayStation era game. Yeah. So yeah, that's fun. Okay, so I did
treasure hunt. Yeah, okay, we have mentioned it.
Okay.
Literally Johnny's here in the comments with us. He's all caught up. So welcome back, Johnny. Hope you're enjoying the show as much as we are.
Yeah. Alan and Nolan, we're excited about Alan and Nolan. They're rad. Right. And in the comics, like they're a mixed matched pair.
Yeah.
But I feel like they feel more mixed matched in the show because of who's doing the voices.
I think so too. Yeah. That you don't ever expect Seth Rogen and
J.K. Simmons.
J.K. Simmons like to be in scenes together, but both do comedy and both have done serious roles as well. So it works so well. They're so good together.
I was just watching Arrested Development where J.K. Simmons shows up. I'm like, oh yeah,
dude's really funny.
Scene.
Yeah. I listened to an interview with him talking about Invincible a couple of days ago. It was just talking about the first 3 episodes, and he was saying how much he enjoys working off of Seth's line reads and everything like that. He's like, we don't ever get to record together, but I sometimes I like going first and like being able to just set the scene, and then listening back to what Seth does afterwards. And other times he likes when Seth's recorded before him, so that he can just bounce off of that because he finds Seth just so fun to work off of. And it's great. It comes off, and like they're a pairing that I love in the show and in the comics. They're one of those like tag teams that are thrown together and unexpectedly
odd couple.
Yeah, like that. Just like they shouldn't work together really, but they do. I think they work better together than Alan and Mark even, which is fun because like they're a great pairing too.
Yeah.
I think really it's just a case of Alan is the guy you can put in scenes with anyone and it's gonna be great.
Right. Because Alan's like the most lovable
Anymore.
character.
He is. He's the best.
Because it's not like Oliver where you're like, I don't know where this is going. Alan has kind of a pure like, let's go, we can do this. It kind of has an upbeat attitude towards everything. Like it's never
overwhelming. Nothing's ever too overwhelming for him. It makes me really excited for the show to go all the way through and to keep going because like, we get more Alan. Alan's not going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah. That I'm excited about that.
Yeah. That's all the back half of the episode. Like the time for a cutaway because Mark and Eve are getting it on.
Paul Tompkins returns and it made me laugh.
It's so good. As soon as Eve says, "Let's get out of here," I was like, "Oh, we're gonna get another cutaway, aren't we?" Of course. And they do it in the book, and I just forgotten. But like, it is that same thing, and it's done so well.
I thought the episode was like, it felt a little short. And then as soon as they went to the bedroom, I'm like, okay.
Now we're getting the breakout as we expected.
They do this again. So funny how Paul F. Tompkins is like shielding us from the sex stuff. Like he's like so concerned.
It's the quiver in his voice, like as we come back, and he's like, "Are we safe?" He's like peering around the door just to make sure that it's safe for the audience to come back into the room.
Okay. I remember this when I was a kid. I was probably like 13 or 14. And it stuck with me because I saw boobs on regular TV. So someone called in to the local like Channel 13 and was complaining about the airing of Conan the Barbarian, right? And so they did a whole report at the end of the news talking about Conan the Barbarian and how they got so many messages because they showed naked boobs on TV and they showed the naked boobs. But then they went on to say, we also showed Tulsa Doom get his head cut off. We showed all this blood and violence.
Good.
We showed this and we got zero.
That's how fucked the morals are. Like,
And so it's so funny that Invincible, as graphic as it is, like we saw some fucked up shit in this episode prior to this point, that we have to be shielded from sex. It's so funny.
It's a commentary on the American censorship sort of system, isn't it? Like, and how that's always been the way, and it still is the way. Like, you can show like the most graphic stuff in the world. You can show people getting shot. You can show people getting punched in the face until it squishes, but you can't show any skin. Like, it's just it's just everything.
I also love that Eve can like on an atomic level remove all their clothes, but she leaves her bra on, which is so fucking funny to me because no kid and his girlfriend, like like 19, 20-year-olds would ever do that. I found that hilarious because I think in the books, like they're actually like nude, but there's like
I think limbs are covering.
Just happen to be covering like certain, like it's framed in such a way. So it's so funny how
can't even be a hint of it.
So it's so funny to me because like we see like decapitations, we see heads getting punched in, we see all the most
and there's shit. The language is like completely it's
so funny. And Paul Tompkins is so great, and the music, I need to look it up. I should have Shazammed it. I got a thing coming. Where the music, I'm like, was this written for the show? It sounds like Jerry Goldsmith. It sounds like almost like I don't even know how to describe it, but it was a very jaunty, upbeat, like fully orchestrated like sound for the sort of previously on Nolan and Alan. And I'd really, really like to see if it's something that was written for the show or if it was
Cool.
taken from something else. I guess I could do the thing where the X-ray shows you songs. I don't know if it'll
It only shows you the songs. It only shows the needle drops, because we got quite a way through this episode this week, and I was like, "Oh, I don't have a needle drop for the Instagram post." And then it got to the date montage when they're flying around, and there was a track, and apparently it's Joji, Your Man by Joji. And it fit that scene fine. It was like, it wasn't my favorite needle drop that they've done on the show, but it fit what the tone of that scene, where it's just these two young lovebirds birding it up, like flying around, like having a superhero date, which was really cute and nice to see, like them not having to like go to someone else's level. Like Mark isn't having to like carry Amber around, or like like go and just have Earth-based dates. Like it's a case of, yeah, cool, I'll meet you in Paris. And it's like, they'll get there when they get there. There isn't one relying on the other. It feels like a way more of an equal relationship. And yeah, okay, you could say, and they both did say, I was like, yeah, it's kind of crazy, like saying it too soon that they love each other. But it's like, they're 19-year-old kids are dumb and like get in their feels real quick. But also, they're a really good couple, and they've both known it from very early on. Like I'm glad that they cut back and they showed some of the stuff from like the first couple of episodes of the show, where I was like, these two should be a thing, right? Like we've always known that it was going to be these two.
Readers know.
Even the audience members, I think, have known that there's something that Ellie's here. Hey Ellie, you can't really jump up here because you'll probably crush my laptop. And Liz is here. Hey Liz, happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah, happy Valentine's Day.
Oh, isn't that nice, Ralph? Liz says happy Valentine's Day to you.
Do they make heart-shaped tacos on Valentine's Day? I know they do pizzas.
I mean, we could probably make some heart-shaped tacos.
But you get less tortilla, probably.
Yeah, that's the waste. We're doing El Pastor. It's gonna be nice. Yeah. We got like a spike. We're gonna put it in the oven. So yeah,
speaking of love,
and
food and grocery shopping.
Exactly. There's another love story in the show, or like budding one anyway, of Shrinking Ray and Rex. And it's really nice. They're giving Ray way more to do in the show, and her just wanting to have a bit of normalcy is really nice. Like there's a conversation in there where it's like, I don't want to just get pizza. I don't want to just live off of the shit that you guys were living off when you were dumbass kids living in this bridge. I want to shop. I want to cook. I can't cook, but I'll look it up. Like it's just wanting to be normal. And then when they're back and Rex like turns to the others and just like, are we too weird? I was like, I love that, because it's he's taking it in. He knows that it's a weird life that they live.
They all have messed up backstories too.
Yeah, big time. Like, none of them have had healthy childhoods.
No, Mark might be the closest.
Yeah, and he's the one who had his face pummeled in by his dad.
Yeah. It is interesting. I'm curious. That's not something in the book. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that advances, because it's new. But I feel like Ray is such an insignificant character in the book that I'm afraid that Ray is being set up to be something happen.
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
Because because Kirkman can do anything. We said it last I was gonna say last episode, where like Tether Tyrant, like we didn't give a shit about him, and now it's like, oh well, he can change that and make us give a shit about Tether Tyrant. He's totally expendable. He's a disposable character, and now he's making us feel stuff for it so he can pull the rug out from under us. I hope he's not doing that with Ray. But I mean,
who knows?
If in the book, Shrinking Ray, if he died,
it's just a dude who's in the background.
I don't even know if he died or not. I don't know.
Still
alive. Like it's so insignificant. So like to start giving this version of Rey like a backstory and sympathetic, and now it's like, well, I mean, is she just still disposable? Because I feel like
don't want that.
I don't. I want everybody to be happy, which is one of my favorite things about the book.
Yeah,
it's that ultimately I think everyone ends up in a good spot.
The book ends on a happy note. I wouldn't say everyone ends up on a happy.
Yeah.
Not everyone makes it, but you know,
the show is making me care about people I never cared about.
Yeah. The moment when the team, as for lack of a better name yet, when they realize what Mark is going to do, and it just cuts to him in the hallway smashing Rihanna Man, just like picking up exactly where he left off, and he's just gone in there guns blazing without knocking on the door, without like phoning ahead, and it's like,
yeah,
I think that's what Cecil's problem is. Like, they are not in a good spot now, but if Mark had said, I need to talk to you about this, and it's very serious, Cecil would have been like, okay, let's talk, fine.
Yeah.
But Mark is so anti-Cecil at this point that he just goes in very, very angry.
Well, because he believes that Cecil is doing surveillance, which
we all do.
We talked about. Yeah. We know he is, and Cecil says we are, but that's not ours. So
yeah. Well, yeah, I think he says to Mark, he's like, if we were, you wouldn't know it. And then he says to Donald afterwards, he's like, of course we are, but not like that. But he's just as worried about it as well, because if there are people who know Mark's identity, know where he lives, knows his family, all of this, that, and the other, then what else do they know? And what other kind of threat are they? If they're threatening the most powerful person on Earth, then that means that they're a threat to everyone else on Earth as well.
Yeah, it's like Justice League Unleashed. I think that's what it was. Where
the video game?
It's a video game. Then they turned it into a book. They kind of touch on it in like Batman v Superman, where it's an alternate version where the Joker kills Lois Lane.
Oh.
And Superman fucking goes Omni-Man on the planet. Yeah. So like that's the game.
Did you ever read Mark Waid's Irredeemable?
No.
That was
around
that was all the same time. Like that was the same concept. Like it's the Superman of that world goes nuts. Like The Boys has it, Irredeemable had it, this has it. Like it was very much in the zeitgeist in the mid 2000s of like what if Superman was really evil?
Yeah. Did I say Injustice? Did I not?
You said Justice League Unleashed. But
that's something else.
I was thinking of Injustice. So, I was thinking of the same thing as you were mentioning.
Yeah. So anyway, I think it's Cecil's best interest to keep an eye on Debbie, because if anything happens to her, like he doesn't want that same situation happening with Mark. Losing his cool. And if Mark is like losing his cool, just thinking that Cecil's like listening to his family, like what happens? What happens if something actually happens to Debbie? What does Mark do? So I mean, I get it that he's monitoring, and I think it's in Mark's best interest that he is.
Yeah,
he can't be there for his family all the time.
Oh no, so, sometimes he goes to the future.
Let Debbie. Let Cecil do that, because I feel like he would send the Guardians to that place to protect her. So that's fine. They just need to come to an understanding, which I'm sure hopefully by the end of the season, there's some sort of treaty made between Invincible and Cecil, where it's like
at least like an understanding, like something. They don't need to be friends. They don't need to necessarily work together or anything like that if they don't want to, but an understanding that they are ultimately both on the same side. They will come at it from different angles, but they are both on the same side, and that is protection of Earth and the people on Earth, and particularly the families of those that they care about. Yeah.
Johnny says he just realized that the unknown watcher is Angstrom. He didn't put that together earlier for some reason. I think I didn't really get that until the credits said Sterling K. Brown as Angstrom Levy. So yeah, if you sit through the credits, I always like I don't do the X-ray because I know I'll just be hitting it all the time and being distracted. So I usually wait until the end credits and then pause for the credits to come up.
Yeah. It's one that I did, but as I said last episode, I remember these issues quite well.
Okay, so I didn't remember all of this stuff with Fight Master and Dropkick.
Okay.
And the Emperor. Like,
Yeah.
is this like a full issue?
I think
how did I not remember any of this?
I think it was similar to how this goes, right? Like, it starts out Mark and Eve are going on a date to Paris, or I'm pretty sure it was Paris. They drop in. We've already sort of seen them briefly a couple of issues earlier, and they are like, "We need your help. Come with us." Boom. And they blip him away, and yeah, it's exactly how it plays out. It's almost beat for beat, word for word, I think, as far as I remember.
My brain had zero. It did not click. It did not. Like whatever that issue was must have just been purged over the last 20 years because of something else took its spot, like new Star Wars or something. You know, ever since Star Wars came back in like 2000,
you're dropping issues of Invincible.
I'm trying to get new. I'm like, okay, do I need to know this one storyline of Invincible, or do I need to know all about like Constable Zuvio? And this was like, that one just like plopped out. I had no recollection. I was like, who is the Emperor? Is it Invincible? Like some Invincible from the future who took over the world? And I was like, really being like, it's got to be him. Otherwise, who would it be? Where I would
the way that they're describing him, and the way that like Mark is thinking the same thing. Mark thinks that it's a Viltrumite of some sort. Like he makes the same assumptions that we all would make naturally with the way that they're describing what ultimately is the Immortal. But
he's like an anti-Viltrumite in the fact that he does not have his facial hair except for the mustache.
Yeah, the no mustache. He's the opposite. It's really, really interesting, and it makes sense why they were stealing the Declaration of Independence and everything. That
thing I fucking loved. Where there was some sort of ancient lore, that if you pulled the ink out of the Declaration of Independence, that it would work as a like countermeasure and I was like, that's so amazing.
Funny.
That's such a cool, like, I love that storyline. Like,
and the fact that it doesn't do shit, it's like it's nothing. It's absolutely nothing. It's just ink.
Yeah.
It's so fun to me. But that would have been passed down because of like the connection because of who the Immortal is. Like, you could see that that's the sort of nonsense that over a long period of time could come up. And it's really good. But the most interesting part of it for me is when he gets there, you don't have this angry, all-powerful Emperor of Earth. You've got this beat down, like just depressed, really wants to die Immortal who can't. And he's so honor bound to stick around and to continue doing what he thinks is the right thing in Mark's name, for Mark's rule. Like, Mark was his overlord essentially, and Mark left with his family, as Immortal says. He's like, you left with your family, and he doesn't finish his sentence, and Mark's like, wait, what? Hang on, they don't get there. But it's really interesting that it's like he as soon as he sees Mark, he's like, I'm not gonna fight. Of course we're not gonna fight, but like, I need you to take back over because I am not cut out for this shit anymore. Like, just end me, please.
Yeah. He the fact that he doesn't remember Kate is nuts. Especially like right now where like they just got married.
Or engaged, yeah.
Or engaged, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like now Mark has this information. Like, does he stop it before it gets to that point? I don't remember where Immortal fits into this story down the road.
I don't think it goes this way, but that's because of other stuff that happens with Mark and family of Mark.
Yeah.
But we don't see that it doesn't happen this way. Like we see spoilers for the last issue, very, very minor spoilers for the last issue of Invincible. It ends with some flashes to future storylines, and we get almost a montage. Like we get some scenes of different periods of time in the future, and we go quite far. We go like quite far into the future to the point where it's like, oh, we don't see this happening, but it doesn't mean it doesn't happen, or it didn't happen, or it doesn't happen and then it's been fixed, or it we don't know. Time is a weird thing, and the fact that we get a gag of Mark, he never keeps his clothes safe anywhere. He just takes them off and gives them to his future self. Like it's such a fun little thing that is just done in a throwaway thing. It's like, that is just good writing. That's just good time travel writing. I love a good time travel story more than almost any other type.
Right. I do like that. It's like one of those things where he's like, where Fight Master and Dropkick, is that their name?
Yeah.
They're like, don't worry about it. It's hard to like fathom. And then on their way out, and they're like, oh, we need one more thing. And it like kind of sounds like it's important. And he opens up the portal. It's like, oh yeah, he's got to get his clothes back.
Did you ever see Primer?
Was a really
that weird indie
no
movie? That's a time travel movie that like you kind of almost need a pictogram diagram of figuring out what timelines are where, because you've got characters interacting with other characters and interacting with themselves, and it's like handing off and handing back. It
hurts my brain.
It hurts my brain to watch, but it's a really good movie as well. Real super low budget indie movie from around this era, actually, like the late 2000s.
That's fun. That's not Clive Owen, is it? Who's in Primer?
No one. It was just a weird, like, little indie Austin movie, like cheap. Yeah. Literally Johnny knows Primer. There you go.
Oh,
it's a fun movie. Well, it's not a fun movie. It's just a really good heady movie.
Yeah.
Heady movies though. Immortal is no longer heady. He doesn't have a head anymore.
I was like, is he just going to take the head off again? And I'm like, it didn't work last time.
No, that was my whole thing. I was like, I saw that. I was like, okay, now you got to keep them separated, because otherwise it's just gonna reconnect. Like you just leave that there and then take the other one and bury it, or like dump it in concrete, or put it on a spike somewhere for everyone to celebrate that your overlord isn't there anymore. Like, I don't know, do something, but just don't put them back together, because he'll be fine.
Yeah.
Maybe
he would be in a better spot. Who knows? I don't know. It was really like, I completely forgot about this. So I was like, oh man, this is rough. This is really rough. And so much to put on Mark, especially after last episode where he's telling Oliver how precious life is.
Yeah.
And it's just, there is a breaking point with Mark.
Yeah. You can hit a point and he will rip your head off. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like super heavy and super weighty, and it's just like, holy shit. Like Mark just went through, it's 10 o'clock. And that's the thing with the 10 o'clock, it's all 10.
It's all right. We always know that we're about halfway through the show now.
Yeah, but it's so like heavy for Mark. Like this is like nuts.
Yeah.
And then he just pops out of the portal right where he left.
Like nothing.
She's like,
happened.
it really is time travel. He came right back. And I do like that they say, couldn't you have come like earlier or at some other time, like not during our date? But he sits down and he's supposed to like for Eve,
carry on having
happens.
a date. Yeah. And he's
And
just
it's like fucking nuts what he just went through.
I wouldn't say him and Immortal are friends, but like they're colleagues. They work together. Like they have a mutual respect at least. And yeah, and to also just know what happens, and also kind of because of him, because he's the one who leaves, that all of this happens and that the world goes to shit. And it's like, that's a lot to put on a kid. Like, and a kid who's now then gonna go and try and have a nice date. It's bad.
And to see
bad times.
and to see the future Earth being like torn apart, like it looks like the Matrix, like the real world. It's
Terminator,
like so fucked up. It's everything's awful about it. Like that gut punch. It's like the coldest bucket of water on your date. Like there couldn't be a colder bucket of water tossed on you during the date. And to just come right back into it and finish the conversation, it's like, holy shit, like this is fucking huge. But what's good about Eve is she understands
Eve is great.
Invincible's the like top of the food chain as far as if you're in trouble and this is the only guy that can do it, it's going to be a big deal.
Worth doing. It's worth doing. Like, and she's never going to get upset about him having to cut out on a date. Like she gets it, and it's why they are so good together. And she's great. She's so supportive, and she's just like, all right, cool. We're not going to sit down and have a nice cafe in Paris date right now, but we can get out of here. We can go for a fly. We can just let it all out and just get some air and get some space. And that is what they both need. And that's when we get the montage of like their history. And it's like
they're flying around in their civilian clothes.
Yeah.
Like they're so carefree and out there that it doesn't matter. Their identities don't matter.
No.
As a team, they're like unstoppable.
Yeah. I mean, literally, like those two.
Yeah.
Once they sort of fully come into their own, there is nothing that will be able to stop them. And yeah, it's great. And I feel like they feel like that with each other. Like they know that about each other now, and it comes off really, really naturally. And Stephen Yen and Gillian Jacobs are so good. They own those characters so well. Like they're two actors when they were both cast. I was like, cool, they're great. I really like them both, and I've really enjoyed them both in other stuff. But I also feel like I've known Mark and Eve for so long from reading the books that it was hard with everyone, just like trying to put them together. Like I think J.K. Simmons is the only one that I was like, yep, no, perfect, no notes. But everyone else, I was just like, cool. I don't know what I thought Mark and Eve sounded like, but it wasn't that.
No.
But now it is. Like when I've gone back and read issues, I think it was after season 1 when I did my full read, I hear them, and like that is Mark and Eve now.
Yeah, which is why I don't want a live action Invincible.
No, I mean,
I've
not heard any more about it, and I think that I hope that project is dead because we don't need it. We do not need.
It's just so perfect. Yeah. I think also with the success of the show, I think it's perfect. And I was kicking myself because I mentioned that I went to a show, the George Lucas talk show last week. Jesus, it's been a long week. Yeah, I went last week, and as I was pulling out of, I was like going down the
Ralph, you just said pulling out and going down. Come on, you know what that is.
Pulling out of my parking spot and going down in the parking structure ramp. I saw Seth Rogen. He was right by my passenger window as he walked by.
Yeah.
And I in hindsight, I feel like a fucking idiot because I do this thing where I don't want to bother people.
Of course.
But yesterday, I was watching this episode and I wish I had just rolled down the window and said, "Thank you for Invincible." That's like, that would have been it. It would have been enough time to say it, and he would have been able to hear it clear as crystal. And I was like, fuck, like
I'm the same as you. I never want to bother people if I've seen them in passing, but
I mean, thanking somebody for something, I think would have been the way to go. If I would have just said "Thank you for Invincible," and that would have probably, like, he would have said, "Oh, waved" or whatever. I wasn't looking for any sort of thing, but
he would have probably had the Seth Rogen laugh and just be like, "Hey, you're welcome, man." He
looked tired.
Right? Yeah. I mean,
it was like
I haven't seen the show yet. I haven't seen the show yet, but
it hasn't been posted yet. It hasn't been posted yet. The live reading for the holiday special is now up, which I went to San Francisco for that 2 days before that George Lucas episode in on Tuesday.
Was it at the Dynasty? Is it?
Yeah.
So
the live reading was in San Francisco.
That was Sketchfest. Yeah.
And then 2 days later was at Dynasty for the George Lucas talk shows.
So at Dynasty as well now, James Willems, who is another former Funhouse alum with Jacob and Patrick and those guys, he's doing a game show at the Dynasty, like a trivia show sort of thing. And I know Patrick was a recent guest on there. But yeah, James Willems, Elise Willems, his wife, and like a lot of that crew of comedians and stuff seem to be popping up on there. So if you ever fancy a trip up there, like I'll send you the link to their page. But yeah, James is a really, really nice, fun guy. And he's from that crew of like what is now Astro Goblin. But yeah, the former Funhouse people.
That's fun.
Yeah. It's always as soon as I saw
it's a real small place.
Yeah, it's like I've not been obviously, but like I've seen enough streams from there now that I'm just like, yeah, that's a cool little theater. I wish I was more able to go.
Yeah, if you come down here some point, there's got to be something showing there that we can go check out.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be in the next 4 years, but yeah. But after that, yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
So I'm so sad that I missed that chance. Yeah,
that'd be
but if
you're a big shot making movies now, Ralph. There'll be another time. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm looking for a job. I'm one production thing that I'm working on that's going to be like a short, and it'll be really quick. I have a meeting on Wednesday, and I'm like, there's nothing to discuss. Like, we just need to get a crew and shoot in a day, maybe.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
for the short, but that would be great. And then this other thing that I wanted to do with the guys who did Hunting for the Hag, like that project's kind of stalled out because it's reliant on 2 specific cast members, and those 2 specific cast members are now blowing up. Okay. But the project I'm working on, I'm excited because I will see those guys on Sunday. And that's the one that it's like I'm writing and producing. Have I talked about that? I'm writing and producing. No. I don't know if I talked about it on the stream. I thought I told you.
You told me that you were working on something, but I haven't heard any details yet.
Right. I would say this. If you make your way over to the Discord, my Discord, which might be a good plug for my Patreon, it's $1. Is it $1?
I think
it's $1, right?
It's not much. Yeah.
Go to Patreon and I'll post some shit
every
once in a while. But the Discord, if you want to know what I'm doing, it's all there.
Great.
You just got to know which tab to look at. Johnny's over there. But yeah, I don't know if I'm directing it, but I don't know if I'm not.
There you go. It's exciting.
So it's really, dude, it's really weird.
Cool.
I could probably, you got your Alpath store going, but I could probably just give you a quick log line when we're off of here.
But we'll do it.
It's a weird one. It's a really weird one. I think you'll dig it.
Cool.
Let's get to Nolan.
Let's get to Nolan. Sexy time cutaway, and it is the breakout. But like, we even get like a poster for this. Like, this is its own episode. Like, we get Alan the alien in lockdown, or like what is it?
Lockdown but not out.
Lockdown but not out. Perfect. So good.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is the same way that it happened in the books. It's like you get a few pages of a Mark story, and then you're like, actually, most of the issue is all this. And it's great. I love everything about this breakout. We get a whole recap of everything that's happened.
Right.
For those of you who can't remember more than a year, which is understandable. It's been a while.
I was going to say,
checked in with them once or twice.
People miss like post-credit sequences and stuff.
Yeah, that's it. If people
that's usually where this is relegated.
Yeah, if people turned off,
they turn it off again at the post as soon as the credits end. Like,
they did it quick though this time. I feel like it happened quick, and everyone was probably thinking the same thing that you were. It's like, oh, that was a shorter episode. No, here it is. By the time you've had a chance to think that, you're back in. And it's great. I don't remember if in the books battlebeast is in this scene or if
I don't remember.
I don't think he was, but
It
it's
was
a great
surprise.
great way of bringing battlebeast back in at this point, and it's just it worked, and he's so fixated that he just wants his glorious battle with a Viltrumite, and he gets it eventually.
He gets it eventually. We the sequence where Nolan and Alan take the fight outside, and then Battlebeast are like, he's like, where did Battlebeast go? It's funny, and it's just them punching each other in space. Oh, but before
that, like he puts the guard's head through the thing, and that's fun, and then they're like, right, okay, we need to get outside here, and like Alan has a split second. He's like, shit, do you think Battlebeast can survive in space? He's like, yeah, probably. It's like there is a consideration. There's a consideration, but he's always going to think the positive thing. He's always going to think like, yes, he's the ultimate optimist, and I love it.
He's a go-getter. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Stevie was like, oh, that was considerate, and I was like, yeah, it was considerate.
It's considerate, but also like, if it didn't work out, it still needed to happen. Like they still needed to do that, and ultimately they know that he was there for Nolan. He was there to get Nolan out. Like Battlebeast is icing on the cake. But now if they find Battlebeast at some point floating off through space, just having the best time of his life, because like that like I think he is like just having a great time. He's prolonging that fight, I think, because he's so just funny. Like, yeah. It took two. It's so
funny to just shot at them punching each other.
It took Alan and Nolan working together to get rid of that one Viltrumite, whereas Battlebeast hasn't killed his, but he's just like, I got this. I'm just gonna hang out and take care of John DiMaggio on my own.
Absorb, and appreciate the ride of being able to go to war with a Viltrumite. Like he's like savoring every second of it.
It's what he's been waiting for.
I know you're not playing the game.
No.
I know you're not playing the game. But there's a Cecil's Nightmare event going on right now where the bad guys are all Viltrumite.
Oh.
And you can only play as Alan, Omni-Man, and Battlebeast.
Great.
And they set up the level to look like the prison
cool
ship.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a lot of fun. And I was able to get like, you could stick like multiple Allens in there or whatever, but you can only use those 3 characters. It's like, oh my god, it's tying to the show. Like
that's great. That's what we hoped for with that game, is that they could just do these events of like episodes relevant like events. Is perfect. Jeremy Kelly's made it.
You haven't been booted from our group. Mm-hmm. You're still good.
Cool.
And I mean, as I said, Eve is still helpful.
As I said, the moment she's not, moment you guys level up way beyond like boot.
Yeah.
Jeremy Kelly's he's not got enough of those 3 guys. See, I had my Nolan was pretty good.
My Nolan's now at 2 stars at the red level.
Oh wow.
Then I have a secondary. I have a secondary one that's like a 5-star orange and then my Nolan was pretty good. My Battlebeast I always wanted to, but I like needed the stuff for other characters, I think. Yeah. My shrinking ray is fucking nuts. I have all skill levels at 6. That power glove attachment thing is at level 21.
Jeez.
And then she has like all the white gear like maxed out. Like for some reason, like my shrinking ray, I'm like, this is the one.
That's the one. That's your main. Yeah.
That's what I'm choosing. And like my Nolan and Mark are like right after that, but it's so funny that like Ray is like the one that's always in the fight.
Should go. Yeah. It's fun. It's nice picking characters that aren't the obvious ones.
Yeah, it just happened that way.
And ones that like are fit in that game as well. Like they're slightly lower level as well, so more likely to get like I want to say shards of like that character, so you can break them down to like build up the other ones. So
there's been matches where it's been 3-on-1.
Yeah,
and Ray will just take them all out.
Wow. I mean, at that level, I'm not surprised.
Yeah. It's rad.
It might be 3-on-1 if the Coalition of Planets gets enough people on side, because the bombshell that we get at the end of this is like the true secret of the Viltrumites, and that is that there are less than 50 pure blood Viltrumites out there.
Right. And is that including I was gonna say Optimus Prime and Nolan.
I assume so.
What's the name of the dude?
Peter Weller. Yeah, that guy. What is his name?
Peter
I
Cullen.
can't remember. Peter Cullen. Yeah, not Weller. That's RoboCop.
It is RoboCop. Peter Weller should show up in the show. I could see that happening.
Yeah, I could see that happening. Thaddeus.
Great.
There you go.
Thaddeus.
Thanks, Jeremy. Always here. This is why we need Jeremy Kelly. We should just wait and just do episodes when Jeremy can make it. So,
it's such a funny story arc where we got him to read the book for the first time, but now he's the most like recently read.
Yeah. Well, he pushed out old like episodes of The Mandalorian so that he's got the Invincible, whereas like we lost issues from our brain like storage. I
pushed out almost all The Mandalorian.
I mean, yeah, it's gonna be the first to be purged, isn't it?
Yeah. Or Book of Boba Fett. I saw Boba Fett on Monday.
Yeah, how is tomorrow?
Yeah, I posted a picture on Blue Sky. I was going like this behind him, and then I took a nice picture. But it's so funny. Like, go on Blue Sky, look at the picture of me and Boba Fett, and if you look in his T visor, it just was the right angle where you see Stevie's face all like a funhouse mirror. It's
amazing,
so funny. Yeah, he's doing all right. Boba Fett.
Yeah,
I didn't tell him that his season finale 2-parter was shit, but well, what are you gonna do?
I mean, I just feel bad for Tamora Morrison because like he's so game to do more, and
I know
they haven't done anything. I'm just like, I hope they bring him back. But I mean,
those first 2 episodes were great.
By his accounts, like he's not in that movie, like that Mandalorian and Grogu movie. Like he's like, no, I've not done anything for it. I'm waiting. Like I'd do it if they want me to, but like, nah. And I like. He's not the problem there. He was not the problem. Like, Tamora Morrison's great. Like we are big fans of Tamora Morrison here, but we could save this for another Star Wars episode down the line. But like,
but we're supposed to be nice on that show.
Yeah, okay, all right. Yeah,
no, it's fine. That's fine. So we get the breakout, which is we've been waiting for.
I tell you what, I was playtesting the new decks from set 4 of Star Wars Unlimited today, and the Boba Fett deck that's coming out for that you can pick up and play as its standalone thing. It's awesome. There's some really cool new mechanics in that. Yeah.
The thing is, I was never a big Boba Fett fan to begin with.
Me neither.
Because even as a kid, like I knew like it was kind of dude broy to be a fan of like Mandalorians and stuff.
We always said this, like, and it was just like it was a cool design, but no character. And then when like old EU stuff started happening, it was like the Mandalorians, they're this warring people, and it's like, cool, war's not great, dude. Like, why would you want to be that? War not make one great. Like Yoda told us
Luke Skywalker's the best, and Luke Skywalker could take out all of them.
Well, I mean Wedge, but this is all Star Wars stuff. We shouldn't be talking about Star Wars.
I'm just saying, Luke is my favorite character, and I'd pit him up against any Mandalorian. I mean, fucking look what Mace Windu did to Jango.
Yeah,
fucking nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Invincible's great, isn't it?
It is. I don't know. I mean, we the prison break was pretty much like a big giant action sequence, showing Nolan and Alan coming together and working together,
and Nolan cares.
by them coming together, and just
it was watching that dude's
face. I'm like, it's so Kirkman. It's so Otley. It's straight out of like the comics.
Predator.
But that's it's
it's an 80s action film, like, and that's what their story feels like, is an 80s action film.
But it's like also you have a little bit of hope because you're like, they can do that to 50 guys.
Yeah.
Especially if you get the Guardians on your side, if you get the new teen team or the adult team or whatever they're going to call themselves. Like if you have Mark in the mix and you have the Peter Cullen, Thaddeus in there in the mix on the good guy side, like, and Oliver, like say, hey, Oliver, you want to start killing people?
Yeah.
Like, let's start going.
Go for it. Go for these guys.
like I feel like there's actually more hope. I don't know if they mentioned. Did they mention the less than 50 in the comics? Because
Oh yeah,
this seemed like okay.
it's a big point.
Because Stevie was like, "Oh, that sounds doable." I mean,
Yeah.
it did take so much effort to take out one.
Yeah.
But
they've got a coalition of planets, and they've
Yeah.
got people, and they've got ideas, and like they've got Nolan's books, they've got ways and people that they can look for. Like Battle Beast, they already know about. We've mentioned Space Racer. There are people out there. There are super powerful people out there who, if they can get them on side, if they can get them like to join the cause, then great. And I think that's
Yeah.
why Nolan was such the key point here, because it's like if you can get Nolan as the flip, like he's your whip. He's the one who can be like,
Yeah.
I'm flip. Like I've turned here. Like if I've done it, all of you can, and we can win
Yeah.
this. And that's what he says. It's like that. It's similar to his moment where he's like, I think I miss my wife. It's and we can win. It's that.
Yeah.
Oh shit, it's gonna happen, and we're gonna go
Because
for
it's
it.
like the only thing that's holding him back from being with his wife is fulfilling his duty as a Viltrumite.
Yeah.
And if they're gone, there's nothing holding him back.
And the great thing is, we're getting to this point, and the Viltrumites are the ultimate threat. We're about a third of the way through the story. We're not quite a third of the way through the story.
Yeah.
Like we're just shy of a third.
Yeah.
And
That's
that's
good stuff.
so exciting, because the biggest and the best stuff from this series is still to come. Like everything up to this point is, I think that's why they pack so much into 140 something issues that you compartmentalize it. I think in my mind. So I'm just like, everything up to Invincible War feels like school, like the market school era. He might not be at school the whole time, but it's like him going to school, finding himself, and then it's like then shit kicks in between Invincible War and Viltrumite War, and that's a huge chunk. That's like the bulk of the book right there, and then you've got everything else when it's like that's happened, and then there's still another like good old chunk for 40 50 issues probably where it's still going, and you're like, but what else can they do? And they throw some amazing stuff in those like last bits, and it's some of the most heartbreaking stuff because of the affinity that you have for all of these characters. It's such a big cast, and that's why the show is doing such a good thing, where it's like people might think that it's being slow, but it's not. It's just giving you time with these characters so that you can fall in love with them or like grow to hate them, and then you keep watching, you keep reading, and your opinions on them will drastically change as you go on, because it's a long running series.
Yeah.
Jonathan Roker is in the chat and asks, do we think that if King Immortal made the robots, or was Rudy when he was still alive? I could see that being a Rudy robot, or at least like set up the original versions of them. Set up the tech so that they're sort of self-replicating probably after a while, because like I don't think Emperor Immortal was really bothered with the day-to-day. I think he was just sort of letting the robots do all of the subjugating, and he was just like, yep, I've set him doing my thing, and I'm just gonna sit back here and be depressed.
Mortal.
Yeah.
Jeremy Kelly says he also likes the Battle Beast and Viltrumite floating off into space, still fighting. I know how Battle Beast story goes. I'm interested in seeing how that plays out. But I love that, like, it took Alan and Nolan to take out one Viltrumite, and Battle Beast is still going, which shows how strong Battle Beast actually is.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if there's someone out there stronger.
If everyone's loving Battle Beast and they want more Battle Beast, there's a new series. There's a new Battle Beast series that's just started. Yeah, it's just started. I think this week. I think they just like dropped the first issue of the comic this week.
Okay.
I've not read it. I've not checked it out yet. But it's Jeremy says it's coming. I might have just dropped this week, or it might be coming soon. I don't know. I don't keep up to like weeklies. But it's definitely worth checking out. I think that it's telling stuff like now. It's telling the story here from the first time we see him with Titan up to when he's like imprisoned, and then probably all this stuff here is taking place, as far as I can tell from reading a little bit about it, like during this time frame. So you should be able to read it without too many worries about Invincible spoilers, but do not quote me on that. I would still recommend you go and read all of Invincible first, just so that you're not surprised if they just drop a thing about like some of the stuff that happens with battlebeast in Invincible.
Yeah. I'm not sure. It says here that there's the trade is coming out October 28th, but I'm assuming
that would make sense for 6 issues.
Yeah, but I don't see anything about the actual.
I know. I think Skybound have been posting about it, and Artley maybe. Tyler Kirkham is doing covers, at least maybe the interiors as well.
Oh, he is?
Yeah.
I love Tyler Kirkham. I have a original Tyler Kirkham Green Lantern page that he gave me.
Nice.
That he gave me. He was just being very nice to me. He just happened to give me that.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with me. Also, being nice to him and signing him into Disneyland had nothing. Those were two separate occurrences. We're just a couple of nice guys.
Just being friendly. Yeah.
I gotta pick my page, and it's like this is like Kyle Rayner with the gigantic construct, like fighting a weaponer. Like it's
amazing,
fucking coolest page, and I haven't even framed it, and it should be on my wall somewhere. But I love Tyler Kirkham. He's a cool dude.
I got a couple of pages of Little Depressed Boy drawn by Cena Grace was the artist on that. Cena Grace was at this time in the comics was the editor of Invincible and The Walking Dead. But then he had his own stuff, and now is just a creator. He's a writer and artist in his own right. But back then he was editing for Robert Kirkman. But yeah, I bought a page that he did an issue that Childish Gambino was in throughout. And I bought that from him as soon as the issue dropped. I was messaging him. This was back when Twitter was great, and you could just message people. And I was messaging him, and I was like, "Dude, I want to buy one of those pages, like that. This page, if that's possible, if you're cool with that, like I'll pay you whatever." And he was like, "Yeah, sweet." And it took him ages to ship it, to the point where he was like so apologetic. He's like, "I'll get it to you. And when it arrived, it came with 2 other pages as well.
Oh, shit.
And he was just like, and like a really nice note and like signed variants and stuff like that. And it was like super, super nice. I was like, you did not need to do all of that. That's amazing. Thank you so much. So I've not moved any of my artwork over to this house yet, but they are like in my old place, the comic pages, the original art that I had was on the stairs. So maybe do the same. But there's a lot of walls here, and there's a lot of stuff. But we've also got all of Liz's.
I need to go get that framed.
Liz's stuff.
I just remembered I had it.
So, we'll figure it out.
The Joelle Jones, who did that art for me. Super nice person. Just did an original drawing of Hal Jordan for me. It's Hal Jordan flying. It's fully colored. For some reason, there's like a Mickey Mouse silhouette behind it. I don't know why that's there, but just out of the kindness of her heart, she just gave that to me.
That's great.
I'm a nice guy too, though. Yeah, I probably helped her out in some way as well.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. Like these things, it's just coincidence. Sometimes these things happen.
I don't have that power now.
Nope.
But I could. But man, I just realized that I have like 2 original art pieces because I helped some people out.
That's great.
Connection. It was so funny because I just told Kirkham, I was just like, he was like, does anybody know a good way to get into Disneyland? I just replied to him on Twitter, and I was just like, yeah, dude, I got you covered. He's like, cool. It was around WonderCon time. And I was by his booth, and I just introduced myself. I'm like, here, take these things. And he's like, oh, cool. go through this book and just take a page. I'm like, what?
That's so cool.
He's like, yeah, any of them. I'm like, what? I love how you draw my favorite character, Kyle Rayner. And I was just like, this one? And he's like, yeah, okay.
Well, I mean, it's
Well,
not quite the same,
was-
but like the reason that I have the first page of Scott Pilgrim that was ever drawn is because I like when I went to San Diego when I first met you in person, and it was like I was at Brian Lee O'Malley signing, and I was flicking through because I was like, I'm gonna buy a page. I love the series. It was really important for me, and I was flicking through, and it's like I knew that which page he'd drawn first because I'd read his blog and everything like that, and he'd posted about it. He'd done like a behind the scenes thing, and I was like, oh shit. I'm shocked that you've still got this. And it was, I think he had it like stickered for like $450. And I was like, well, I wasn't planning on spending that much, but fuck it. If this is available, like I'm absolutely going to do that. And I only had $350 in cash on me at the time. And I was like, hold it. I'm going to go to a cash point or something and get some money out. He's like, oh, what you got? And he's like, have you come over from England for this? And I was like, yeah. I was like, oh, dude, have it for that. Like, it was 300, fine. And then, like, later that year, when he was doing a signing in the UK, he bought over a page of Volume 6 for me as well. It was like, because that was just coming out at the time. So, yeah, I've got like the first page ever drawn. And then I think the first page of Volume 6 that he drew as well. So,
wow,
I've got the bookends of it. Yeah. Super, super cool. Be nice to people.
It's crazy how you can be nice.
Just like, be nice to people, and like
you make friends for life.
You're never asking for favors or anything like that. But it's just like nice people do nice things for other nice people. Yeah. It's not rocket science.
It makes you feel good. Like I still feel good about like, yeah. Do show and tell. I want to see that page.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be easy as well. Like I can do a lot of the show and tell as soon as I've moved it over, because that's still all at my old house, because I don't want it to get damaged or anything like that. But as soon as I do, I like, before I put it up, we'll do like a show and tell comic art episode of Invincipod. Fuck it, let's just make that a thing. Yeah, I feel like Invincipod is the show that we could just nerd about other comics as well.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Hey, they give us a long enough hiatus, we can do whatever we want.
Exactly.
Oh, well, okay. I'll talk. There you are. Oh, there you are.
I did the Ralph special. It's because I've got my mic on the stand, as opposed to on like normally when I'm sat on my normal desk, I've got it on an arm, and I've got the wires sort of strapped to that a little bit so it stays in.
It's crazy how easy it is to unlodge this mic from the
such a ubiquitously used microphone. Like everyone like has a Blue Yeti at some point. I feel like if you've podcasted for a while, you've used this microphone, and everyone must have gone through this. Like it's the most delicate connection, and it's what is it, mini USB or whatever it is. It's like such an old connection.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe one day I'll upgrade it. I'd love to. I don't know. It's such a good mic. It works. I don't need to. Yeah. You're right.
This is my second mic.
I was going to say, didn't you use the Snowball like for the entire time up till we started this, right?
Yeah, and then I was just like, I need a new mic.
I used the Snowball. I used the Snowball when I was doing shows way back, and then when I started that podcast, the Boy Meets World podcast in COVID, I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna get a good mic. What else am I doing with my time and life? And I got this, and yeah, I've just used it ever since.
Yeah,
but I do like having it on the arm, the like articulated arm. That's nice.
Right. I don't have anything to attach it to.
Yeah, we need to figure out what the setup and situation is going to be. It'll be upstairs, but we'll get there. We're getting there soon. Yeah. Cool. I am going to go and spend some time with my lovely pregnant partner, because I feel bad for abandoning her. Happy Valentine's Day to everyone out there. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, guys. See you
gonna
next
be a
week.
what? It's gonna be a while now, guys. I don't know if you can handle it. Like, it's gonna be an entire week before you see another
I'm
episode.
so excited to have a bit of a break.
Yeah, me
'Cause all
too.
the episodes are running together. It'll be
I'm
nice to just focus on one.
So tired. I'm so tired this week.
Go
That's
rest
gonna
up.
be a recurring theme for the rest of my life. So get used to
Yeah.
that. Right. Thank you everyone for joining us. We'll see you next week on another episode of